What's going on, guys, and welcome to Rabbit's Used Cars. I tell you, kind of good to be back in the saddle again. I think Kobe's been sitting in my chair, though. This thing ain't sitting right yet. I got to get it broke back in. But I'm glad to be back. You know, we had a lot of fun filming with Netflix, and got a lot of fun stuff coming with that soon. But, you know, I want to talk to you guys about something, and you have those moments in your life. They're humbling, you know, that you just sit back and think, you know, and it's still surreal to me, so much of this stuff. I mean, I love you guys, and I love talking to you guys, but where this has went and going, even, you know, and it still blows my mind that, you know, a used car dealer in Greenville, South Carolina has got California talking, and, you know, all you guys all around the world are watching this, and I love it. I mean, I love sharing life experience with you guys and funny stories and motivational stuff, and I love it. I love the messages and all this stuff, and you guys have been great. But I was doing a podcast while I was out in Texas, you know, killing a little time one evening, and they sent me a list of questions, you know, obviously to kind of go over before we did the podcast. And, you know, most of these podcasts are pretty much the same. You know, everybody wants to know, why'd you get banned from eBay? Or, you know, hey, tell us about the porn star in the Camaro. And, you know, I mean, you know, like, you know, what was the best sale you ever made? What's your favorite car? You know, my favorite car is the next one I'm buying. You know, you got to understand that's how I'm wired. Anyway, you know, and they ask you these questions, you know, and they're all pretty much the same. And I love doing podcasts, you know, it's fun. You know, I did radio for years. I'm sure people thought the same thing when I was interviewing them. You know, same question. You know, when I interviewed Ed, you know how many times he's been asked about the cannonball? You know, I mean, and he still loves to talk about it. And, you know, I love talking about this stuff because it's my life, you know, and it's fun to share, you know. But I got a question that I've gotten it before, but not exactly in this context. And it said, Rabbit, if it wasn't for cars, what would you be doing today? And, you know, I've done a lot of stuff over the years. You know, you got to think, you know, of course, my family owned a diesel truck shop for 2 generations before me. But then you've got, you know, I had a sign shop. You know, of course, I've sold cars, but, you know, I've done so much stuff over the years. And, you know, I thought about it. I was thinking, like, man, what would I do? Would I be an attorney? Or would I be, you know, a realtor or something? You know, maybe still being in sales, you know, or something like that. And, you know what? I don't know no other thing I could do, because my life has literally been about something that rolls and blows smoke out of the back since day one. You know, I get it honest. I mean, it's a family tradition for us. But in the same token, you know, it's so funny. You know, I take sales a little more serious than most people. You know, a lot of people, and my dad was one of the world's worst. He gave me hell about sales. But, you know, a lot of people, oh, you just got lucky. Anybody can just sell something. No, there's an art to it. You know, there's a science to it. There's psychology to it. You know, there's so many layers. It's like an onion, you know, of things in sales, and I love all of them. You know, even the smelly parts. But, and some parts that make you cry sometimes. But my thing is, I love sales. And, you know, I've said it a million times, and I'll say it again. I sell to sell again. You know, I love making money, and obviously that's a byproduct of sales, but I love the interaction. I love meeting new people, and you know, you start thinking about that. I mean, some of the people I've sold a car to, of course, you know, like we were talking about the porn star Camaro, but I mean, I've sold cars to execs at Philip Morris. I've sold cars to athletes. I've sold cars to, you know, just the most interesting people over the years, and I love it, you know, and I mean, and some, you know, weren't, you know, some big highfalutin something, but they had a really interesting backstory. And I love just learning about people. Maybe that's radio coming out of me in the interview process. But, you know, so back to the question. What would Rabbit be doing if it wasn't for car sales? And I'd still be doing this, you know. And so we did this podcast, and he asked me that question. And I responded with, probably doing the same thing I'm doing right now. Maybe with a few less cameras and podcasts and red carpet events and whatnot. but because I enjoy this. You know, you got to understand, I took a 4-month break from this place. I walked away to film this show. And, you know, it was a lot of fun and a lot of laughs, and Netflix and this production company were awesome. And I mean, this thing went off without a hitch. And I'm so excited about this new spinoff of my life. But in the same token, I was almost uneasy. And it wasn't uneasy like I couldn't pay my bills or anything like that. But it was like, I need to be selling something. Like, it's bothering me. And of course, I go out to Texas. And, you know, they fly me out there. And I could have, you know, got a rental or whatever. But, you know, what do? I'm on Marketplace for El Paso looking for cars. Like, I can't help it. That's what I do. And, you know, here I am walking around, you know, Alameda Avenue in El Paso, Texas, looking at cars, walking like a fiend, looking for something, like looking for my fix, because I love to buy. And I bought and sold 2 cars while I was there. And keep in mind, I know that don't sound like a lot for 4 months, but we were also filming 60 plus hours a week. And so I stayed hopping a lot. And the thing that tickles me is, you know, everybody see me riding around. I had a really nice Blazer, and we're going to talk about that because it's got a phenomenal story attached to it. But, you know, I bought this really nice Blazer, and then, you know, I sold it and sent it to Lubbock, Texas. And then I bought a C5 Corvette from a hairdresser. I was getting my hair cut, and she was telling me about this Corvette. So I bought it. And it's like, you know, they see me riding around in a different car or whatnot. But this is the thing. I'm a salesman. I live to buy. You know, I'm not, they look at me, you know, here filming this show, he's talent. He's an actor. And, you know, a lot of these things, you know, they're feeding you lines or they want you to say things. But this is the thing. This is what I do. Like, I buy and sell. And it's not like I can turn it off or anything. Like, I was uneasy. You know, so, you know, I met a really good friend out there, my buddy Wesley, and we'll be talking about him too. We got some funny stories with Wesley too. And I'll never forget, we're at the rap party, and we're sitting around, and he goes, just having a beer. And he goes, I got to know, Mr. Salesman. He said, how did you do? And I'm like, well, you got to think about it. I rode for free this entire 4 months, and I made $5,000. And he goes, so you're telling me everybody else is over here Ubering or, you know, buying some Kia Soul or something to ride around in, and you rode in this badass lifted Blazer and then cruising around with the top out in your little Corvette like a Playboy in El Paso, Texas, and you made $5,000 still. I'm like, yes, sir. I said, that's what I do. He said, damn it, boy. And he shook his head. I said, what's that about? He goes, you are just a damn car salesman. I said, I can't help it. I get it honest, sir. So basically, that was my answer to the guy's question of the podcast. You know, at the end of the day, you know, cameras and lights and all that stuff is great. And it's fun, and it's a great experience, and I truly enjoyed it. And, you know, hopefully we'll be back doing a lot more of it. But at the end of the day, you know, I'm a glorified used car salesman. And something, it kind of takes me back to a saying that my dad used to say all the time, and he used to make fun of me because I used to do the craziest things with cars. He said, you can take the boy out of the trailer park, but you can't take the trailer park out of the boy. I guess you just can't. You can take the used car salesman out of the car lot, but you can't take the car salesman out of him. I guess I get it honest. Well, I tell you what, guys, we got to cut this one short. We got to make some time and sell some cars. It's been too long. We'll catch you next time here at Rabbit's Used Cars. What's going on, guys? It's your old buddy Rabbit. Hey, while I got your attention, be sure to check out our merch store. We got all kinds of Rabbit's used car gear and free shipping over $75. Show the world you watch, support, and know the eBay outlaw yourself. A little cold start, hadn't done this in a minute.